Well, we have a lot going on today, and even sitting directly to my left here in the radio studio, we have a special guest that I'm going to be interviewing today for you just to hear from her heart about her candidacy for running for City Council for District 4. That will be none other than Miss Darden Rice. So without, you'll be hearing her voice shortly. I'm going to be bringing her on just a moment, but I want to go ahead and they say take care of some little announcements and let you know what's going on in Tampa Bay. Well, the first thing I want to talk about is just to remind you again, you heard me last week when I was telling you about Matters of the Heart pre-Thanksgiving food basket event that's coming up on Saturday, November the 16th, 2013. This event will be held at Glad Tidings Assembly of God, which is located at 4200 17th Avenue North in St. Petersburg. The event will start at 11 o'clock. So we're inviting the community to come out to this event. We want the mission, the ministry mission, vision, and goal is to bless 200 families with food baskets and turkeys. We know a lot is going on during this economic times, a lot of hardships, a lot of people are poverty stricken, and we just want to do our part as a nonprofit organization. This is the ministry's 6th annual event that we're hosting, and we will be having some co-sponsorship from another nonprofit, which is the Southern Christian Leadership Conference here in the local chapter here in St. Petersburg. So we're all pulling together doing team ministry just to bless God's people. What I like for you to do that are listening is to give me a call or email me. I'm going to give you all that information if you would like to be a sponsor. What we'd like you to do is donate non-perishable food items or give me a call and tell me, Princess Denise, I'd like to donate 2 turkeys, 3 turkeys, 5 turkeys, whatever that you're financially able to do. But if you're able to do anything, meaning that donate non-perishable items like, instant mashed potatoes, candy yams, rice, pasta, stuffing mix, all kind of stuff like that is what we want to put in the baskets to give them that as well as a turkey. So when we all pull together in unity, we can accomplish much. And for us to fulfill our mission, our vision, and our goal is we need the help of many in this city. So if you'll give Princess Denise a call at 727-488-8818. And just in case you did not have a piece of paper or pencil, let me give you that number again, which is 727-488-8818. Or you can email me at princessdenise.8818 or visit our website at mattersoftheheartministry.org. Send me an email. Let me know that you want to be a sponsor or you like to make a monetary donation, which will be tax deductible as well. Also, I want to advise the families that may be listening today, registration will start on November the 1st until November the 15th. We'll be signing up families if you want to be a recipient of a Thanksgiving food basket or turkey. So depending on how many turkeys we get and how many food baskets, that's what we'll do. But we're just believing that God will manifest and fulfill this dream and this mission that we're embarking upon. And thank you for listening to that, and just take heed. And again, I said the families can start calling Princess Denise on November the 1st through November the 15th to sign up for your family. Okay? With that being said, one other announcement before we hear from Darden, and that is Reader's Choice Bookstore, which has a new location at the Maxi Mall at 4341 34th Street South in St. Petersburg. She's on the corner there. You see the sign that says Reader's Choice Bookstore. So I want you to stop by today. Tangela Murph Bailey has a great book here on sale by Dr. Creflo Dollar, which is called Winning in Troubled Times. Are you going through any trouble right now? If you are, you want to get down there and buy this book. She has a clearance sale on it of 20% off, and the little brief synopsis here says that God's solutions for victory over life's toughest challenge. Now, we know sometimes the biggest challenge that anyone would say that they're having is financial difficulties. Then somebody else may say a challenge for them is their health. Someone else will say they have a challenge with their husband, their daughter, or children on drugs. Whatever your challenge is, why don't you go by Tangela and pick up this book today? And she's giving you a good deal of 20% off, and you will be blessed. And also, Tangela does have other merchandise there that you want to partake of, which is African American art. Has all sorts of book, inspirational, motivational, Christian. Also, she has body oils, incense, and shea butter, and books of all categories. So you go down there, see her today, and whatever you need, she'll be able to help you with it. And even if you're running a few cents short. So go down there and support Tangela today over there at the Maxim Mall. She's not in the Maxim Mall. She's on the corner of the complex there. You'll see her sign. So you want to go in there and support her and tell her Princess Denise sent you by for a special deal today. All right? With all that being said, we're ready. I want to introduce you all via internet and via listening to her on this radio broadcast today. You're going to be hearing from my special guest today, which is Miss Darden Rice, who is running for City Council, our upcoming election on November the 5th for District 4. Now, what I like for Darden to do at this time is just greet the audience, say hello, and then we have some special questions for her today to tell us why she feels that she's qualified for this position. Okay?
Well, thank you, Princess Denise. It is so great to be here today. I've been looking forward to this and looking forward to great questions from your audience.
Yes. And we're going to be opening up the phone line. Sister Diane, I'm going to have you let them know about our phone line, and then at the end we'll try to get a call or two in. But what we're going to go ahead, we have much to cover in a short length of time. So I'm going to begin by asking Miss Darden Rice some questions, and you just listen while you're driving in those cars down the street, or sitting right there in the comforts of your sofa or at the dining room table. Listen to a couple of things I'm going to cover with her, and you'll know who she is, or at least what she's about, or at least have an insight of her thoughts, her plans concerning certain issues as you go to the polls on November the 5th. Darden, the one thing I'm going to cover here first is some information I took off your website, and this what I really liked. I saw that on your mother's side, you had noted here that you had a great-great-grandfather who was one of the
barefoot mailman. He delivered mail on horseback.
Now, how good is that? Barefoot mailman. Before I could get it, I was just reading it because I was like, okay, I'm about to say it, but she came with it. Isn't that something? That's exciting.
That's quite a bit of Florida history. Very interesting. That part of the family is from Pompano Beach, and back then, now if you drive to Pompano Beach, the whole Fort Lauderdale has grown up.
Oh yes, okay, definitely. How many years ago was that? About 50, 60, or could it be more?
I think longer than that. Much longer than that.
Yeah, like
going back 8 generations.
Oh my goodness, isn't that something? Barefoot mailman.
And called Barefoot Mailman because he delivered mail on horseback on the beach and across the Peace River.
Oh, my goodness. That's great. And one noted here is that you have an uncle named Everett who served as our former sheriff for 16 years. Are we talking about Everett Rice?
Yes, we are. Public service runs in my family. My grandmother, Everett's mom, was a a teacher at St. Pete College, St. Pete Junior College back then, for decades. She taught algebra and Latin.
Yes.
I have nurses in my family. My aunt's a nurse. My brother's a nurse.
Okay.
And Everett, of course, is well known in this community for his public service. as our
Absolutely.
sheriff.
Well, I tell you, got a lot of great family history here, Miss Rice. I thank you. Well, we're going to move on. We're going to see what we can cover here, and we're going to just be very effective and moving forward here today. I'm going to have you share with us a little bit on a few issues that I've noted here. Crime and public safety. In running for office here for City Council, what is your concerns? What are your issues about that? And what do you feel that if you are elected as City Council that you'll bring to the table in sharing your ideas, plans regarding crime in the city and public safety?
Okay. And real quick, too, just a quick reminder, the election on Tuesday, November 5th is citywide. So for those listening, no matter where you live in the city, you can vote in all city council districts.
Okay.
And I bring the longest record of public service to this race. If you go through and look back at the last 20 years of my career and public involvement in the community, you'll see that it's really marked by these 5 values: public service, engagement, accountability, courage, and equity. And my platform is called St. Pete Strong, and it's based on 3 pillars: strong economy and strong jobs, strong neighborhoods, and strong city services. Mm-hmm. And I think, and when I said that, I don't mean a city that's strong in just some areas or just strong for some parts of the community, but a city that isn't strong for everyone in all parts of the community isn't strong at all. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times what I think about as I put together my plans and how I'll work on city council and where I'm coming at on the issues, I know that 41,000 of our residents live below the poverty line, and 17% of those are children. And I think that it's incumbent upon the city to be creative and resourceful and sincere about addressing these issues head on, and I'm looking forward to being a part of that. Now, you asked about crime. Mm-hmm. I do support what's called a traditional community policing model, which means that our officers focus on building relationships in the community, and it's more of a focus on prevention and what's called predictive policing, so that we are channeling community police officers to areas where we can anticipate greater need. But we know that when we have community officers in an area where they know the people, they know the kids, they know the trouble spots, they can be there to help intervene and prevent crime, rather than, say, calling the sheriff's office to come in and they don't know people jump to conclusions, not minorities, but juveniles getting arrested for things where then they've got a mark against them for a long time, and it affects how they get into college. It affects getting jobs. And so I think we need to, I do support a community policing model that works more with the community.
Well, that sounds good to me. Now, I saw something on your website about new police headquarters, or is that something being taken under consideration, or just a thought out there?
No, I think it's underway. Our current police headquarters on Central Avenue is in pretty bad shape. There's leaky ceilings, there are cramped quarters, there's mold. Some of the evidence room is cramped. It's hard to keep track of and sometimes lose evidence because of that. So
how old is that police department? Is it?
Oh, that's a great question. I'm not sure exactly how old it is, but I know that most people who've gone in there and inspected it, it's time for a new headquarters. The first plan they came out with was about $60 million, and they've now ramped that back down, and they're looking at about $40 million for a new police headquarters that would be across the street on the north side of First Avenue North. Okay.
Or is that something they're looking at in 2014 or 15, or is it anytime soon? Or we know it's not this year.
Yeah, yeah. It's, as far as I know, it's something that is going forward, and there's plans being drawn up, and I don't know exactly when they're going to start breaking ground, but it's underway.
Well, I did not know that till I just just viewed that on your website. So I was glad to know that. So, all right. Thanks for informing the public here, those that did not know that we're working on getting a new police headquarters soon, maybe in 2014 or 15. I'm not sure when, but it's forthcoming. Hey, let's talk about these red light cameras that's out there at different intersections. What do you know about that, Darden?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm not in support of red light cameras because I think that they are, right now, as I look at the facts, I feel like it's a revenue generating tactic more than it is a public safety measure.
Are we talking about just collecting extra money just to be collecting it? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, I got a ticket at that red light camera, and it's $541.
I think red light cameras impact people in an unfair way. It hurts lower income working people the most, and if it was a situation where we could see more data that showed that they actually reduced accidents or that they were stationed at particular intersections that have the highest rate of accidents, and if the money actually was slated for public safety measures, I would feel differently about it. But right now, I think that it's basically a revenue-generating scheme. And the problem is, well, we are coming out of a recession. The city has to look high and low for places to bring in money. I understand that. But when the economy starts to get better, the red light cameras won't get taken away. And instead, I fear that we'll see a proliferation of them. So I am against them. I think that there's a better way to promote public safety that doesn't end up being a tax on people who run red lights.
I wonder who came up with this great idea. Do you know?
There's a number of communities across the country that are implementing these, and it's a mixed bag of they're stopped in some places and they're welcomed in others. And so the good news about that is we're going to have more of a record to look at to judge to see whether this is a technology that really promotes safety or whether it's just a way for a city to collect money.
To operate a red light camera system, one approach costs roughly $5,500 to $6,000 depending on the city's contract. Once they've entered into the contract, they need a certain number of violations to pay for the system.
Exactly.
I don't like the things, I'll tell you that. I do not like them.
I've been a victim.
So have I. So have I.
Well, we have a few more questions, but before I go with the other questions, I want to go ahead and open up the phone lines in case you have a question for Ms. Darden Rice. We'll take your call. I'll give you a minute or two just to ask your question, and she attempt to give you her full explanation. But we're going to open up the phone lines, and I'm going to continue with the questioning. If you're out there in our area and you don't know the phone number for WRXB, it is 727-864-1600. All you got to dial is 864-1600 if you're local right here in the city. So if you have a question for Darden and you'd like to call in before the end of our program, we're going to be going off the air about 1:30. But if you can think of something you want to ask her, please feel free to give us a call. All right. Now, I've also noted something here on your issues that you want to address is strong transportation network. What is that about?
Well, I sit on the board of the Pinellas Suncoast Transit Authority, and in that respect, I chair our legislative committee, and I'm also one of our leaders for what we call Green Light Pinellas. And in about a year, everybody will have the opportunity to vote on a referendum to support a tax swap where you have that your taxes on your property taxes come off that support mass transit, and instead we'll get a 1 cent sales tax increase to help fund a stronger bus network and possibly light rail. So what this does is, right now it's really difficult for our current bus system to continue at the level of service it is now. And so we would have a stronger funding mechanism by doing it this way. And this is the great news. It means that our bus services would increase by 65%. People would be able to catch a bus every 15 minutes on many routes instead of every half an hour or longer. We would see extended hours on the weeknights and on the weekends. So a lot of times people take the bus to get out to work and work a late shift, and they have no way to get back home.
I've heard many say at 8 o'clock or something you can't catch a bus, and then when you're depending on someone to pick you up, and sometimes when people have cars, they're not always want to be available to go get you. So there's like, can you get your bus? Can you get your cab?
Exactly. And if we have a stronger bus network, that means that a lot of families maybe don't have to buy that second car, which constitutes huge savings to a lot of working class, middle class families. It also means that we can lay the groundwork and the foundations for building light rail, which will connect St. Petersburg to job areas in the Gateway Center to Clearwater, and then eventually over the Howard Franklin Bridge to the Tampa area and connect us regionally. As part of this plan, we'll also have bus rapid transit. So it'll be a greater mix of options of the stop-and-go buses to get you into to shorter areas, but it also means you have more options to get that bus that just shoots across the city.
I know, because I know, like in metro cities like, let me see, New York. I believe the bus runs about every 15 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, and we know that increased frequency of service means that we'll get more riders because people are more likely to use the bus. Like if you miss it, and then you know it's just 15 minutes before another bus comes along. Right now, if you miss a bus on some routes, it might mean that you miss your appointment, that you're late for work, and you have to really scramble to figure out an alternative way to get there. But if we increase the frequency, then, and that costs money and some investment, but if we do that, that's one way to really develop a world-class bus system that offers better service, not just to people dependent on the bus system, but it also means that we'll be able to bring more riders in who are choosing to take the bus by choice.
Hey, this is a major topic right here. The pier. Tell me something here.
Yeah.
You're in office. What are your feelings about the pier?
Well, you know, there's a saying that you earn your credibility in spoonfuls and you lose it in a bucketful. And I think the city lost its credibility in a big bucketful. We've got to work with the public in a more meaningful way and inspire trust and really engage in meaningful dialogue. We've been able to do it before. We've been able to work with other complicated issues where we were much better at working with the public. And I think we've got to regain that trust as we go forward. Personally, I would like to see an option on the table that's a much less expensive option than a $50 million, iconic project. I'd like to see something that reflects our cultural heritage, where we can fish off the pier, where we can bring up boats, and that we can have more offerings than what we looked at before. And I'm looking forward to being part of that process and improving upon it. I think we learn from our mistakes, but nobody wants an empty pier for the next 3 or 4 years.
I know I don't. I used to, just many years ago when the kids were very young, just going down there, just looking at the water, just trying to be refreshed, thinking of all the issues I was going through. So it was just a serene place. So I don't want to see anything that just taken away and something else just thrown up there just for monetary purposes. I don't know. But I just like that. I do believe in change, but sometimes I just don't feel that others should just make the change for you without getting you involved in making the decision as well.
I totally agree. And I think part of where the system went wrong was that we did have a peer advisory task force, and we did do a pretty good job vetting from the community the idea of what the function was of what we wanted from the pier, and then the designs that we were ultimately presented was such a jump from the functionality that we were talking about. So I think we need to see some new sets of designs that are more clearly tied to the function.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about, Ms. Darden Rice. Oh, yes. Thank you.
Okay.
I got a couple more things here. Universal curbside recycling. Now, what's that about?
Well, St. Pete is the only major city in the state of Florida to not have what's called universal curbside recycling as part of its regular trash pickup. And this is a thing. We pay some of the highest fees for trash service in the area.
Oh, yes,
so
we do.
I support looking at this with a fresh set of eyes and a fresh set of data, and I support a cost-feasible way to do this. We're not going to do it if it costs a lot of money, and I think we can figure out a way to do it where it doesn't mean people have to pay more. And I also strongly prefer to see the city provide this service, that this is not something that would ever be outsourced. I think it's something that the city has the professional capability to provide the service.
Okay.
And doing that means that there's material that we're not paying to burn in the landfill or to fill up to burn in the incinerator or to fill up the landfill. So it's just being a little bit smarter about not burning things that we can reuse.
That sounds good to me. Thank you. What about neighborhood associations?
Well, this is what I say. I mean, St. Pete's a city of neighborhoods, and we do not have slums, but we do have slumlords. And with this recession that we've gone through, the city has really decimated the neighborhood grants program, the neighborhood partnership program. Our codes enforcement has been severely cut, and we know that code enforcement and working with community police are some ways to turn neighborhoods around. I also support what's called a landlord registry program, where we can hold some of the slumlords accountable. That we have right now, we have a lot of people that buy up, multiple properties. They own the hotels, the seedy hotels on 34th Street, and they really have not been held accountable, or it's hard to hold them accountable. We need to make sure that if they're in violation of codes, that they're fixing up their properties, that they're doing it in a timely way, and that they're making an effort to contribute and be a part of building the communities and being a reputable business rather than a sore.
I guess, as you're talking about the slumlords, do you have just like one or two people just going around buying everything? It's just are there just a lot of wealthy people that just trying to buy everything they can put their hands on to just rent it to any and everyone just to make lots and lots of money, or just really are there landlords that just really that's down there in court all the time that people are filing charges against that won't take care of those properties? Is there?
I think there's a handful of people who are just deliberately irresponsible, deliberately gaming the system, and they have bought up multiple properties. I will say that there's a number of very responsible landlords out there and who support, a system of accountability that most people are willing to work with for their own protection as well. But we do have a handful of people who have just bought, multiple properties, and these are houses that are dotted through every neighborhood in the city. And these are houses that then constitute a problem to the neighbors because they rent to people who haven't been sufficiently checked out. There's noise issues, there's crime issues, and then the homes themselves don't project a very positive image because they're falling into disarray.
Okay.
And it's very tough for neighborhoods where you do have people that care about a neighborhood and care about keeping it safe and care about looking out for each other, and then you have these landlords who are just not being fair, not cooperating, not participating with the rest of the community. And you find these throughout every neighborhood throughout the city.
Exactly. Well, my radio listening audience, you've been listening to Ms. Darden Rice giving you her feedback, her comments, her recommendations, and her plans if she is elected for City Council for District 4. What I'm going to do here is we're getting ready to close the program out, but I'm going to have Darden just tell you why she's running for office and where she feels that if you vote for her, the good choice you'll be making, or just her reason for running for City Council for District 4. Because I see here that right now that Darden is being endorsed by Gwendolyn Reese and Gypsy Gallardo. Both of them have made a comment here that she's deeply committed to the vision of economic growth, sustainability, and health for our community, and has been for many years. She's been fully backed for the 2020 plan, the Southside CRA, and the People's Budget Review since their inception. And Darden not only knows how to win in many situations, she has the heart to see them through. So in closing, you're going to hear Ms. Darden Rice tell you why, if you go to the polls on November 5th, why she wants you to vote for her.
Thank you so much, Princess Denise. And we need your vote at the polls. We know that the more democracy works best when more people vote. And I'm Darden Rice. My platform is St. Pete Strong. And these are serious times. It calls for serious leadership. And my platform is St. Pete Strong. And I know that some of the ways that our city takes a role in addressing all of our community's needs is focusing on getting everyone better jobs, focusing on the city's role to help address our education and achievement gaps. And we also need to focus on improving our city services as the economy starts to get better and we can support more city services in our budget. I'm looking forward to looking at creative ways that we can be a better support to everyone in the community, and I'm ready to go to work for you.
Thank you, Ms. Darden.
Great.
Thank you,
for
my
having me.
audience, for tuning in today for Matters of the Heart with your radio host, Princess Denise Wright, and my special guest, Darden Rice. Have a great day.
Thanks for having me.